Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse Podcast. This is episode number 416. My name's Adam Patterson. With me today, we got Kevin Rakestraw. Hey, Kevin.
Hi.
This week on the show, we'll be taking a look at Quentin Dupieux's Mandibles, which is out now on VOD platforms. We'll also be going over some we're watching on the watch list and going over this week's new releases in theaters, VOD, and Blu-ray. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Please remember to review us on iTunes if you get a moment. That would be extremely helpful. Just one bit of housekeeping here. The new Saved by the 90s should be dropping later this week, so stay tuned for that. I'm looking for a Thursday. Should be out on Thursday.
Okay.
So stay tuned for that. I don't think I divulged the theme for this month's episode, but I'll do that now. It's cyber thrillers, yes, which is definitely a genre that I'm super into. So this was a pretty fun month. We did Johnny Mnemonic, we did The Net, we did Time Cop with Van Damme, and Ghost in the Machine, which I think Ghost in the Machine might be my favorite of those four. I don't like The Net, I've determined. So it's not a very good movie. Johnny Mnemonic's not very good either, but we discussed them all at length, so stay tuned for that. Let's go ahead and jump into our review this week. Talking about Mandibles. This is the latest from writer-director Quentin Dupieux. I have a synopsis here. When simple-minded friends Jean-Gab and Manu find a giant fly trapped in the boot of a car, they decide to train it in the hope of making a ton of cash. Kevin, we'll start it with you. What were your initial impressions of Mandibles?
Pretty much exactly what I wanted.
Yeah,
and
it's the
Dupieux,
goofball comedy.
Goofball comedy.
With a giant fly.
Yeah. Giant fly does not disappoint. Cute as hell. And I want him to be my buddy and my best friend.
I'd be concerned for your dog, though.
Yeah, I think they would have to be separated. Keep the fly outside or something. Not sure about the setup, the arrangement, but I'll figure it out at some point. I will say though that I didn't think that this is as strong as his other offerings. It felt somewhat slight in some ways. Number one, it's super short, which is great. That's my favorite thing about Dupieux, is that he knows what he's doing. He knows that these things, they work well at a quick clip, let's say. So he gets in, gets out. He doesn't overstay his welcome. Keeps the story, pretty simple. And I just enjoyed myself. I didn't find it like uproariously funny, but I enjoyed myself. I had a good time.
I agree.
It went to some surprising places that I wasn't prepared for.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this is a little bit more slight than some of his other offerings, or especially some of his later, more recent offerings. But with that being said, I think that he was going for something much more simple in this. Like when you see Mandibles, it feels like almost like an 80s, or it reminds me of like an 80s sitcom. It feels like it's this kind of light, just this really light friendship comedy. So it's like a cross between Dumb and Dumber and a parody of like an 80s sitcom. That's just sort of how I could best describe it.
I could see that.
Just the sitcom aspect of it comes from where they end up, that house with those friends and everything. Like everything in that house feels so disingenuous and like slightly off kilter and just too much, too saccharine when they first go there.
I like how they, opportunities present themselves and the way in which these guys just try to capitalize on it to keep going, to keep getting to whatever they got to do next.
I do like that. That's the first, like, they find the fly, and the first thing is like, oh, well, we should train it and make money. Like, if I were to find that giant fly in the trunk of a car,
Terrified.
that's not where my head would go. Like, I wouldn't be like, okay, how can I train this thing to make some money off of it? Like, I think that would probably be pretty far down on the list of things. But these guys, they're hustlers. Like, they're always looking for an angle.
Oh yeah, but they're also dumb as hell.
Exactly.
So keep that in mind as
Yes,
well.
they are definitely buffoons.
Oh my goodness. Because I love how immediately they're just like, let's not do the mission where we could make uh, a nice sum of money. They're just like, nope, done. Moving on. Now it's the fly. We got to focus all of our energy and time into the fly. But I also kind of like that Manu's character, played by Gregory Ludig, who I love to keep an eye out, and I like him a lot here too. But I also like that, like he's on board with the training the fly, but he's not gonna input any time or effort into it. He's just kind of like, let me know when the fly's ready, and I'm gonna
He
keep myself busy.
he's like the dude. I mean, like that I think that his character could closely be associated with the dude.
But
Where
again, just much dumber.
yeah, much dumber. And he's just one of these kind of just goes with the flow type of guys. Like when when they end up in this house and the one woman mistakes him for someone else, he just rolls with it. And then that
Yeah.
leads to all kinds of comedic hijinks where these people think that they're two completely different people.
I also enjoy the fact that there's a couple aspects to his personality. Actually, there's just one. It's that like he doesn't know anything, and his memory is absolutely terrible. Because even when he's mistaken for someone, it takes him far too long to catch
Hmm.
on. And I don't know if he ever actually does fully catch on, to be honest with you, because he continuously forgets throughout his time there that like he never fully catches on and and plays the situation to his benefit. He's just always constantly forgetting the situation that they're currently in. And he's also just doesn't understand things. Like when she's, bringing up their old weed dealer, and he doesn't, it's like he's never heard of weed before. And he just, that whole concept, that whole idea, everything around it just makes absolutely no sense to him.
Yeah, he is but he's not. See, the thing is though, like sometimes in movies when you have like idiot characters, they get a little grating, they get a little annoying. But I didn't find that here. I thought that he was just the right amount of dumb. Like it didn't go too far in one direction where you're just like, oh God, this guy is, ugh. They didn't get frustrating.
Yeah.
At
And
least not for me.
I think and the best reason for that, I think, that I can think of is that Dupieux doesn't make that like the centerpiece. Like not,
Yeah.
like some movies you would make that like this is the centerpiece where all the comedy's gonna emanate from this stupid person. Whereas he's just kind of going with the flow. Things come up. He doesn't know. He's just existing in this world, and he just happens to not understand anything about it outside of friendship. That's the only thing he gets. The only concept that he has a firm grasp on.
Hmm. The funny thing is, you might think that the fly is the actual centerpiece, but even that I think is not really.
No,
I think it's the friendship aspect that tends to be
oh
the
yeah,
focus, and like large portions. I mean, after they get to this house with these people, like the fly takes a little bit of a back seat. Like it's always there, like they're always like checking in on it and stuff, but a large portion of this movie is just them just deciding to live in this house and interact with these people and try to keep up this ruse of keep the fly hidden,
Yeah. Yeah,
which
there's
they're
not
able
a
to do pretty easily for them until something happens.
yeah. Because you would think going into it that okay, there's going to be a lot of the fly and a lot of the comedy is going to come from the fly,
Them
but
training
neither
it and all of
yeah,
that.
neither of those things are true.
Yeah, and like you'd think that like and the fly does get into some shit. Like the fly while they're training it and what it does, like there's definitely some situations that occur with the fly. But it's not what you would expect. It's not to the level that you would expect or frequency.
Yeah, and that's Dupieux again. He's really good at handling absurdity and taking it to the point that like after you're introduced to the fly just kind of becomes mundane where you're just like, yeah, these guys are training on the fly. Like that's totally normal. There's nothing weird about this. I don't like that's not funny. It's the other stuff. It's
Uh,
how stupid they are.
I I I do kind of love it. I love that. I love it when Dupieux injects these things that are so incredibly absurd into his films, but never puts the focus on them. There's never a spotlight on these things where it's just like, oh well, yeah, it's just a giant fly that they're training. Like that's
Mhm. Yeah.
it just is what it is. It's just part of it. Like this is just part of their plan. Like similarly to them ending up at this house and living in this house with these young people. It's just the next step.
For me, I always enjoy his dialogue. His dialogue is really funny to me, and I just love the opening stages of this, the discussion of the suitcase, and
My
like
God.
people just can't get past like what's inside the suitcase though.
Yep.
'Cause then it got me completely invested too, where I'm like, yeah, what's inside the suitcase? And then that whole thing is just gone. Like 5 minutes into the movie, they're just like,
Yeah.
nope, we're doing the fly thing. And
Yeah.
it's like we did all of that setup.
Hmm.
And you think that that's going to play a bigger role too. I mean, it comes back, but
Comes back later, but
you think that that would be like a source of conflict for them in some way, shape, or form. But Dupieux always doing kind of the slight misdirect.
yeah, he does a good job of subverting expectations. I mean, one thing you can always say about him is you're going to go into one of his films and not know what you're going to get out of it. Like with Mandibles, it's easy to say like, oh, this is a movie about two best friends that find a giant fly and decide to train it, but that's barely even scratching the surface of what's going on here. And the movie's only it's an hour and 17 minutes long. Like the fly is just one small portion of it.
Yes, a very small portion.
But just to reiterate what you were saying, I think that the design is really good. Like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
the creature design, I guess you could call it, looks really good. The model working, the fly looks awesome. Like it looks like a real fly,
Oh yeah.
and I think that they did a really good job with it. So props to them. Props to the prop department.
I would also like to point out another aspect of this movie, which is what's her name? Adele Sarchopoulos, I guess. I don't know. I've never heard her name spoken aloud. But that's another thing that I thoroughly enjoy about Dupieux movies is he always seems to get someone that you would never otherwise see in that role. And the character that she plays here is just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, she
It's
has
just
like that voice modulation issue.
yes, from brain damage. And for whatever reason, it worked for me. I
Yeah,
just
she's really funny in this.
it's so fun, and what they do to her is just insane, just
I,
insane.
yeah.
See, because they didn't have real friendship. See, that's the takeaway here.
Mm-hmm.
They had a fake friendship. It wasn't real. You didn't have the Toro. You didn't have the link
Right.
that bonded you, like Manu and Jean. What is it?
Mm-hmm.
Jean Gab have man. I loved the Toro thing. I don't know why. Just loved it.
Oh yeah, because there wasn't any explanation because they did it from early on in the movie, and there was no explanation, and then they get asked about it, and there's still no explanation, even though they're asked about it, or at least not really. I like the Toro a lot.
I like how they have it for everything.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Toro for every situation.
Everything. They say Toro a lot in this. Throw up
And,
the horns a lot.
and even his self Toro is in there.
Yeah. Oh man, this movie's so much fun. I just noticed that there's a movie that Adele is starring in that's coming out called Zero Fucks Given,
Oh yeah.
and she plays a young flight attendant who loses her job at a low cost airline.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'll check that out. All right, so let's go ahead and give Mandibles a score. Kevin, what are you gonna give it out of 10?
Oh man. I give it a 7.
I'm also sitting at a 7 on this one. If you're familiar with the work of Quentin Dupieux, I would say you know what to expect, but you really never do. I would say you know that there's gonna be some surprises in there and it's gonna be odd, but it is very funny and definitely worth a look. So
And
check out Mandibles.
this is one of those rare movies where like I could use more. I could use the Mandibles too. I like to see what they're doing
Oh
now
man, can you imagine where they're gonna?
with those empty minds,
Yeah,
with their
yeah.
their new stance in life. I want to see what they do.
That would be really fun.
I
I
need
don't
it.
know. I don't think it's. I wouldn't put it past Dupieux to do like. I think he would be comfortable making a sequel. I don't know about for this. I would love to see a sequel to this though. All right, let's move on and talk about some of what we've been watching. Kevin, I believe it is your turn this week.
Oh my goodness. Well, this I will make it quick, and it's 0 movies.
Oh man.
Brought to you by depression.
Oh yeah, I've
So
been there.
no, but Mandibles helped a little bit, gotta
That's good.
say. So we'll see if we bounce back.
That's good. Yeah, I've been there, unfortunately. All right, I have a few that I can discuss. The first one being Blood Red Sky. This is directed by Peter Thorwarth.
And one more time, please.
Peter Thorwarth. It's
Thank you.
hard to say. It's a hard last name to say.
Try it one more
Thorwarth.
time.
Thorwarth. It's
ridiculous.
hard to say, but it's also fun to say.
It seems like you are having fun.
Yeah. So this movie is pretty fun. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It is on Netflix, so this is a Netflix original. It's a German film about a woman and her son who go on a flight from, I believe it's somewhere in Germany. I can't remember where they get on the flight. And they're going to New York. And the plane gets hijacked when they're in the air. And as it turns out, the woman is a vampire. And she's going to New York to get this like treatment done for her like vampirism to try to get rid of it.
Okay.
So the plane gets hijacked, and unfortunately, she has like this like blood and also this injection that's sort of keeping her sickness, if you will, at bay. And that gets destroyed, and she begins to change. And where it goes, I mean, it's definitely a gory movie, but it's kind of just a fun premise. It's not a good movie per se, but I had a good time with it. It's like, a good fun B movie. The makeup work is pretty decent. There's a little bit too much CG blood in it for my taste, but otherwise it looks pretty good. The type of vampires in this movie are more like the monster kind that
Okay.
more closely resemble creatures than humans. So it's a cool premise. You have vampires loose on a plane. There's some lots of fight scenes between vampires, and then like you know just people getting pushed out of the plane, and like people turning into vampires, getting bitten. It's a whole thing, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
I give it a light recommend.
yeah, it seems like a a terrible place to be confronted with a vampire is on a plane.
Yeah. Yep.
There's not a whole lot you can do.
Another movie I saw is Wrath of Man. This is the Guy Ritchie one that came out earlier this year. This is it's okay. Starts off really strong. There's this really great armored car heist that happens. It's in the opening scene of the film, and the way that
Mhm.
it's shot is awesome. It's just a static camera inside the armored car,
Mhm.
and it doesn't leave the armored car or anything. So a lot of like the action and stuff like that you just hear, and it's a really cool way to open the movie. Unfortunately, it just sort of goes downhill from there. This is Jason Statham revenge movie. So the premise here is that his son gets killed in an armored car heist, and he decides that he's going to become an armored car security guy in order to track down the people who killed his son. But guess what? He's got some secrets of his own.
Oh,
He's got a
no.
secret life that you don't even know about.
Oh
Nobody
man.
does.
Damn.
So it's sort of like Guy Ritchie going for a like a grittier, more serious type of movie than something like Snatch. But he also tries to keep it pretty stylized, which doesn't always work. And he does the same thing that he does in some of his earlier films, like Snatch, where like we're following Jason Statham for like 45 minutes, and then all of a sudden, bam, we're following a completely different character and their story. And then we do it again a third time. And you're
Gotcha.
just like, wait a minute, what? Like, so it's a little bit jarring how it's kind of put together. Because you don't know like who the killers are, right? But then the reveal of who the killers are is like a 25-minute act where we're just following them and their story. And Jason Statham's nowhere to be found. So I mean it's fine. It's just a little jarring. And like the movie itself, the dialogue wasn't for me. Like there's just a lot of weird dialogue in here. Like it felt like it was overwritten. So I
Mhm.
wasn't really into that either. But it's visually at least it's doing some unique things. Like it's a good looking movie to be sure. And there's some cool action. So I don't really recommend it, but it's like kind of straight down the middle for me.
Gotcha. Mhm.
You don't need to bother with this one.
Ah.
Yeah, I don't think you'd be too into it. I think you'd find it to be pretty average. One that was not average to me that I just finished this afternoon is Zola.
Oh.
This is the new one from Janiska Bravo, and I freaking loved this movie. This movie's awesome.
It's good
This is
stuff.
this is one of the best movies of the year, hands down for me. The If you're not familiar, it's based on a Twitter thread, and it basically it's just an adaptation of this 148 tweet thread
Hmm.
that this woman wrote back in I think it was 2015 or something like that. And the way that they adapt it is really good. I mean, it's like I don't know how they even like were able to structure it in such a way that it feels so authentic and so accurate. I mean, I don't know if they got every tweet word for word, but like most of them they incorporated into the movie itself. And the way that they handled all of like the social media stuff and like the texting and the tweeting and Instagram and all of that, it's really good in this where it's like this kind of stylized way where the actors are like saying what they're typing out So it's not like an on-screen display type of thing that we see a lot of. It's like actually the actors saying the tweets or the text messages or whatever they are, and that way we can kind of hear like the emotion in it.
Hmm.
And it's a small thing, but it's very effective. And I think that that's why this movie is why it works so well is that there's all of these like just small pieces that make up this really compelling, really entertaining story. I mean, uh performances are great across the board. You have Taylor Page who plays the lead, Zola, she's great. Riley Keough is phenomenal in this. And then you have I can't remember his name. Like I should look him up. The dude from Succession, Nicholas Braun is his name, and he plays cousin Greg in Succession, and he plays Derek in this. He is so funny. He's such an idiot in this. It's shot on 16 millimeter, so it looks incredible. It's probably one of the best looking movies of the year to me, at least, because I really love 16 millimeter, but it also employs a lot of like stylistic choices. Like there's these really cool scenes where she's like getting changed and stuff, and like it's almost like this like kind of these like dreamlike sequences that they incorporate in it. And there's a really cool thing they do later on when it deviates from the Twitter thread and switches over to a Reddit post. And what they do with that is really cool too. So I really loved it. I think it's a must see. I also did not read the Twitter thread going into this, so I actually didn't really know too much about like what happened.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess if you haven't already read the Twitter thread, it's probably best to see the movie first and then go back and read the Twitter thread. But I can tell you after going back and checking it out after seeing this, like it's almost word for word what happens in this movie. So highly recommend Zola. This is on VOD now, so you can rent it, and definitely recommend that you do because this is one of my number one movies of the year, certainly. All right, let's take a look at what we have in theaters this week. We got Jungle Cruise. This is the Disney one.
Mm,
What do you think about this?
no, no,
Yeah.
thank you.
I'm I mean, it looks fun, but it also looks fairly standard. Like your kind of standard Pirates of the Caribbean Disney adventure movie,
Yeah.
which, we haven't had one of those, or at least I haven't seen one of those in quite a while. So I don't think that I need to see this in the theater, but when it comes to Disney Plus or whatever, I'll give it a look. We also have Stillwater. This is the one with Matt Damon. This one's going to be a pass for me as well. Oh, Tom McCarthy did this one.
Who?
Huh?
Who?
Tom McCarthy,
Tom McCarthy.
the guy who did Spotlight.
Oh. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it for theaters. It looks like The Green Knight is getting a limited release next week, or
Mm,
this week rather.
wonderful.
All right, let's take a look at what we have on VOD. On the 29th, we have The Boy Behind the Door. That's going to be on Shudder. I saw that at a film festival last year and give it a light recommend. Resort to Love. That's going to be on Netflix. It's also on the 29th. Sabaya is going to be coming out on the 30th. Probably mispronouncing that, and I apologize. The Exchange is coming out on the 30th. Also, I believe that's a comedy. We have Lorelei on the 30th as well. It's looks like a drama with Pablo Schreiber and Jenna Malone. Enemies of the State is coming out on the 30th as well. This is a documentary. I saw this at oh boy, I think it was South by Southwest, or it was a fairly recent festival, and it's about a hacker,
Yes.
an alleged hacker and whistleblower, and there's like it's a pretty wild story. I would
Does he-
recommend it. It's
does
well
he hack-
shot.
Does he hack the world?
He's like one of the supposed creators of Anonymous,
Okay.
but the story goes to some pretty interesting places. There's
Hmm.
some twists and turns in there along the way.
Okay.
Also on the 30th, we have The Last Mercenary that's going to be on Netflix, and that's a Van Damme movie. Not sure. I really don't know anything about this. I've not seen or read anything about this. That's pretty much it for VOD on Blu-ray this week. We have The Dead Zone coming out from 1983.
Yeah.
Love me some Dead Zone.
Gotta.
Brotherhood of the Wolf is getting a new Blu-ray release. Remember that one? Man,
Yeah.
I was a big fan of that back in the day. A Quiet Place Part 2 is coming out. The Bird with the Crystal Plumage is getting a 4K release. That's
Oh
going to be on
boy.
Arrow. You see, Arrow's putting out 4K releases. Where's
Yep.
Where's Criterion?
They're lagging behind.
Come on, guys.
Phoning it in.
Also on Arrow, we have Vengeance Trails, 4 classic westerns. This little box set includes Massacre Time, My Name is Pecos, Bandidos, and God Said to Cain.
Wow.
We have The Lamp from 1987, Killer's Delight from 1978, Through the Fire from 1988, Shenandoah from 1965. Do you ever notice that, like, with each passing month, it feels like physical releases become more and more niche? Like they're releasing less mainstream things and more things like like Arrow stuff, and like everything is starting to become geared more towards like collectors rather than just like
Yeah.
the general public.
Yeah. Because it makes sense.
It does. I mean, I'm sure that there's two niches with home media. There's old people who are still buying like DVDs and haven't gone digital at all. And then there's like people who are collectors. There's like, movie fanatics who like to have large collections. And I think that that's why, like, when you go over the releases every week, it's like 85% horror movies and like genre
Mhm.
films and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Or, it's a particular director, a particular
Mm-hmm.
actress, something along those lines. There's always seems to be a theme
Mm-hmm.
each week.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Treasure of the Ninja from 1987 is coming out. That's an AGFA release. And City of God is getting a new Blu-ray release.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was man, what a great movie. And it also looks like there's a 2 movie pack coming out that has City of God and City of Men.
Oh, okay. Double pack.
Double pack. My Left Foot from 1989 getting a new Blu-ray release. Never saw that.
No, me either.
Looks I
Just
never it never appealed to me.
not my cup of tea.
Yeah. Never really appealed to me, honestly. Looks like the Scary Movie movies are coming out. There's like some kind of new release for those. It looks like 1, 2, and 3. Oh, Alien from LA from 1988 is coming out. This is a Vinegar Syndrome release, and it looks like it stars Kathy Ireland.
Oh yeah, I've heard that name in ages.
I know. Wanda is a shy, plain girl with a very boring life. But her father, who's an archaeologist, when he disappears on an expedition, she goes out to find him and ends up in an underground world where no one believes in a surface world,
What?
except for the secret police who think she and her father are spies.
Oh my god. What?
Yes, please. I gotta add this to my watch list right now.
Yeah, it's by the guy that did Cyborg and Nemesis.
Oh, I
Yeah.
liked those. Nemesis was good.
Well, fucking prepare yourself, because I have a feeling you're gonna love Alien from LA.
Hell yeah. I liked Cyborg too. Oh, he did Doll Man also, which I tried to watch once, but I was not feeling it.
Oh, it's on Tubi. Catch
It's on-
it. Doll Man, 1991 on Tubi.
Oh, Doll Man. And then there was like that crossover that they did with it was like Dollman versus Demonic Toys. Anyway, what do we got on Criterions this week?
We got nothing.
Nothing.
Hopefully one day we'll have Doll Man to be cut.
Oh boy, Dollman. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. You can follow us on Twitter @FilmPulseNet and @FilmPulseKevin. And if you have a moment, consider reviewing us on iTunes. That would be extremely helpful. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.